Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the quarterly policy meeting of the State Boards of Pardons and Paroles. We are a 5-member board, and today we have a quorum, which actually would be only 3 of 5, and I'll introduce those members to you shortly. But before we begin, I'm going to yield to Dean Ryan Schroeder to make a presentation. If you will, Dean. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Ryan Schroeder. I'm the Dean of the College of Behavioral and Social Sciences. And we're excited to welcome Chris Barnett, who happens to be a double eagle from our college in criminal justice and has a master's in public administration. Very proud of that. So we're proud to welcome Christopher Barnett and the Georgia Board of Pardons and Parole staff to our campus today. This board meeting is a great opportunity for our students to witness the proceedings, to learn more about a relatively misunderstood part of our criminal justice system, and to engage and ask questions. So this real-world experience will be very beneficial to our students in gaining the valuable knowledge that will help them in their future successes. So, welcome.
Appreciate that. I think we also have from the AG's office, Deborah Gore joining us online. Is that correct? Is Deborah with us?
She is, sir.
I do see her there. Welcome, Mrs. Gore, as well this morning. Let me introduce to you the members of the board. I'll start on my left. Our vice chairman. This is Vice Chairman Jacqueline Bunn. Ms. Bunn joined the board in 2016, and she comes to the board as the past executive director of the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. She also is members of both the Georgia and the New Jersey Bar Association. And to my immediate right is David Herron. David joined the board in 2018. He comes to the board after having served as the rank of a lieutenant colonel from the Georgia State Patrol, otherwise sometimes known as the Georgia Department of Public Safety. We have 2 other members who unfortunately could not be with us today, but this is the board that's before you this morning. And we're not here to make decisions on who would actually be released from prison. The board meets on a quarterly basis to do policy work. And there'll be a number of items today on the agenda that the board will have to review to make revisions and corrections as well. For those of you who are not familiar with how the Board of Paroles work, we're individuals. We actually make decisions on felon offenders as to who has become eligible for parole on an individual case, and each member does them as a paper review, which is now an electronic review. So for those of you who thought you were coming maybe to see whether and how the board will vote to release someone from prison, unfortunately, you're not going to get to see that today. Actually, unless you're a member of the board, you would not get to see that. Those opportunities are done actually in confidentiality throughout the whole process. But today we are going to have our policy meeting, and before we do, I'm going to call on the board's chaplain, James Hill, to come and offer prayer.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair Bunn. Good afternoon, Mr. Harry. Let us pray. God, we bow with our heads and the locks of our shoulders to tell you thank you. As we pause during this Passion Week, pray that we might take time to remember, we might take time to reflect, and to reverence what Christ did for us on Calvary's cross. We thank you so very much for life, for health, for strength, for your grace, and for your mercy. We pray now, God, that you will bless this body, that you might give them wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And God, for those who travel from near and far, we pray for traveling grace as we return to our destinations. God, these and all other blessings we ask now in thy Son's name do we pray, and every heart said amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chaplain Hill. So our next item is the approval of today's agenda. The board members have already had the agenda emailed to them. You've each had an opportunity Mr. Lookham-Mulder, is there a motion that we adopt today's agenda?
Move to approve.
There's a motion by Mr. Herring and a second by Vice Chairman Vaughn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimously. Often the chairman doesn't have to vote, but today it appears I have to vote since there's only a majority of us here. Is the microphone, do I need to hold it?
It needs to be closer.
Okay, I'll just do this. And we'll share a microphone with that folks out there. So am I causing that problem? So can I continue now? We're good? All right, very good. So our next item on the agenda is the adoption of the last quarter meeting, which is January the 11th. Each member had those minutes, and you've had an opportunity to review them. Are there corrections or additions to last board meeting's minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion that we adopt the minutes?
Move to adopt.
There's a motion by Mr. Herring. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Bunn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those minutes have been adopted. There is no old business. There's 10 items on today's agenda which deals with various amendments to our policies. And I guess Mr. Mulder is going to come.
Yes.
And present those to the board. What we'll do today, Mr. Mulder, is if you we'll work through each of them, and at the conclusion of today's, once the presentation's been made, then we'll adopt them all as a batch, and any board member wishing any of these items to be pulled out and voted on separately, you'll have an opportunity to do that. So we'll get started with Board Policy 1.100, which is Board Policy Format and Distribution.
Yes, sir. In paragraph 1.104.3, one spelling error was corrected. In paragraph 1.106.3.1, 1.106.3.31, and 1.106.4.3, the hyphen was removed from the word email. In paragraph 106.3.3.2, wording was added to give a timeline as to when board employees need to acknowledge policy revisions.
Any questions from the members? Hearing no questions, our next policy amendment would be 1.112, employees' conduct and social networking posts.
Yes, sir. In paragraph 1.106.5, video conferencing was added as an example of a conversation that cannot be surreptitiously recorded. In paragraph 1.106.7, TikTok was added as a social media site. In that same paragraph, spacing was removed to correct the spelling of the sites YouTube and MySpace.
Any questions from the members? Hearing none, we'll move to the third item, which is Board Policy 1.115, Quality Improvement and Recommendations.
In the header entitled Director of Parole has been updated to Executive Director. In paragraph 1.106.1, the QIR form was changed to the correct terminology, QI form. In paragraph 1.106.4.5, Director of Parole has been updated to Executive Director, and simple wording has been stricken for clarification purposes.
Any questions from the members? Hearing none, we'll move to the next item, which is Board Policy 2.125, Goals, Objectives, and Planning of Field Services Division.
The wording of the Field Services Division was removed from the policy title. In the header and paragraph 1.105.1, the title Director of Parole was updated to Executive Director.
Any questions? Hearing none, we'll move to the next item, which is Board Policy 3.101, Psychological Examinations and Requirements.
In paragraph 1.106.1, the wording, the appropriate division director, was changed to Director of Human Resources. This is referencing who is to coordinate the pre-employment psychological examinations.
Any questions from the members? Hearing none, we'll move to the next item, which is Board Policy 3.114, Retirement.
In paragraph 1.106.1.3, the Director of Human Resources was replaced with Employees Retirement System when referencing where the application for disability is sent. In the same paragraph, the processing of the application for disability retirement was removed as this is now an electronic process. In paragraph 1.106.1.4, or designee from the Office of Human Resources was added in reference to who will conduct the interview of the employee that submitted an application for disability retirement. In the same paragraph, a sentence was removed that allowed the agency head to designate someone to conduct the interview.
Any questions from the members? Hearing none, we'll move to the next item, which is Board Policy 3.119, Recruitment.
In paragraph 1.105.3, pay grade 19 was replaced with pay grade N in order to align with the state's JCC pay structure. Paragraphs 1.106.1 and 1.106.2 were removed because it references parole officers and the agency no longer employs parole officers. As a result, all subsequent paragraphs have been renumbered. In paragraph 1.106.8, the steps for a personnel action request was replaced with one simple step that outlines the process. In paragraph 106.8.1, the word looks was replaced with receives. In paragraph 1.106.8.2, Team Georgia Talio was added when referencing the applicant tracking system. In paragraph 1.106.8.9, a list of uploaded forms in the applicant tracking system has been removed. In paragraph 1.106.8.10, detail regarding consent forms to release information for a background check was added. A sentence stating the background check results will be uploaded into the applicant tracking system was removed. In paragraph 1.106.8.11, terminology outlining the process of a hiring manager uploading forms was removed and replaced with wording that allowed for the forwarding of the forms to Human Resources. In paragraph 1.106.8.12, terminology regarding the closing out of a vacancy announcement was reworded to reflect current practice. Reference to the applicant tracking system was removed.
Any questions from members? Hearing none, the next item is Board Policy 3.124, Workers' Compensation.
In paragraph 1.106.4, the term fax and fax number were replaced with email. In paragraph 1.106.6, supervisor was replaced with designee of the Office of Human Resources when referring to who is to follow up with an employee's position. In that same paragraph, terminology was removed that allowed the designee to accompany the employee to the physician's office. In paragraph 1.106.7, terminology was replaced for clarity purposes.
Any questions from members? Hearing no questions, our next policy is Board Policy 2.200, Employee Expense Reimbursement.
This will take a minute. In the policy title, travel was added because this policy references both expenses and travel. In the header under reference source materials, additional references were added to reflect the links in policy for the reimbursement form, tax exempt form, and the SOG hotel tax exempt form. In paragraph 1.101, unnecessary underlined formatting was removed, a comma was also removed, and statewide travel policy was added. In paragraph 1.102, unnecessary underlined formatting was removed, and additional context was added and reworded when describing the purpose of the policy. In paragraph 1.105, minor rewording was made for clarification purposes. A comma was removed, and the term statewide travel policy was added. In paragraph 1.106, a section header entitled Approval of Travel was added. In the same paragraph, travel expense reimbursement replaced payment. In paragraph 1.106.2, a section header entitled Timely Submission of Request for Reimbursement was added. Terminology was also reworded when referencing the Concur online travel system. The word statement was replaced with report. Terminology referencing the timely submission of reimbursement request was also reworded for clarity purposes. More detailed information regarding these submissions were added. In paragraph 101.106.3, a section header entitled Miscellaneous Expenses was added. Paragraph 1.106.4 was removed and combined with paragraph 1.106.3. More information was added regarding the submittal of miscellaneous expenses, and the miscellaneous reimbursement form was given a hyperlink. All subsequent paragraph numbers were renumbered as a result of the removal of paragraph 1.106.4. In paragraph 1.106.5, the section header entitled Traffic Fines was added. In paragraph 1.106.6, the section header entitled Mileage Reimbursement Rate was added. In the same paragraph, a comma was added and another was removed for clarification purposes. Under the same paragraph, additional subsections were added regarding personal vehicle mileage reimbursement rates. The DOAS rental vehicle cost comparison tool and tax exempt forms have also been given hyperlinks. 2 new paragraphs were added to end this policy to address receipts and lodging.
Any questions from the members? Hearing none, we'll move to the next item, which is Board Policy 4.100, confidentiality of case information.
In paragraph 1.106.2, one word was corrected for grammatical accuracy.
Any questions from the members? Hearing none. Next, Board Policy 1.132, Central Office COVID-19 Countermeasures.
Policy will be repealed in its entirety and replaced with another policy, PP 1.135, Central Office Communicable Disease Countermeasures.
Any questions from the members? Hearing none, the final board policy is 1.135, Central Office Communicable Disease and Countermeasures.
This policy is being introduced to address the future prevention and mitigation of communicable diseases in general, including COVID and its variants.
Any questions of the members? So there's 10 policies before the board this morning. Does any member desire any one of these to be pulled off and voted on separately? Hearing none, then we will vote on them as a batch. Is there a motion to adopt all 10?
I move to adopt all.
There's a motion by Mr. Herring,
Second.
second by Vice Chair Bunn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All measures have been adopted. Thank you much. Appreciate that. So while we're going through that, I recognize that I had introduced both my right and my left, but generally I forget someone. Today I forgot myself. So today I'll just introduce myself. I am Terry Barnett. I'm the chair of the board. I joined the board in 2010. My background is banking, financing, and have a legislative background as well. So our next item for today's business is the director's report. Executive Director Chris Barnett.
Okay, we'll start there. Everybody hear me okay? Well, first I'd like to thank Senior District Operations Manager Wes Mulder for a riveting rendition of the policies and updates. I know the back row here behind me, they were enthused there, back there, hanging on every word. Let me just ask you, we just updated our social media policy. Anybody in here have a MySpace page? MySpace, anybody? Anybody not know what a MySpace page is? Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I'm glad we added that to our policy though, but we're doing well. Look, I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to the chairman, vice chair, and board member. I'll keep my comments brief here today as we have a few presentations, but I want to thank you for your continued leadership, support, and guidance. Because of that, over these last couple of years and challenging times that COVID brought us, we not only maintained our operations, but we were able to enhance it. And we only were able to accomplish that because of your leadership and guidance. So thank you very much. Second, I would like to give a big thank you to Georgia Southern University. Go Eagles. Go Eagles. Yeah. Also, Dean Schroeder, Dr. Blackwell, Casey. I'm not going to try your last name because I'm going to murder that one. all the faculty, staff, and students that are here with us today. As a graduate of Georgia Southern, you know, it's great to be back on the campus and see how the program has grown over the last couple of decades. I believe I'm one of those that the kids now call the late 1900s graduates. Yeah, so again, we could actually drive through campus when I was here. But at this time, I would also like to ask all the parole board staff that have either attended or had family attend Georgia Southern, please stand up and be recognized. Yep. Again, we had this conversation with the dean and the chief of police here. Georgia Southern continues to produce very professional, motivated leaders, and that's why we're here today to engage them in that conversation and the criminal justice system here in Georgia. Board members, as your operational team, we remain committed to the board's mission and its three goals of ensuring public safety, protecting victims' rights, and providing offenders with opportunities for positive change. Again, the first pillar of our mission and the cornerstone of our operations is to ensure public safety. It is in everything that the board does, everything that the operational team strives to accomplish, is to ensure that we are enhancing public safety for all Georgia citizens. As we enter the last quarter of this year, I can't help to look for the opportunities that it brings. The opportunities to close out the years on a positive operational profile and the excitement of preparing for a new year in new and exciting ways. Not simply casting aside the great things that we've accomplished over the last couple of years, but building upon this success and fortifying our stance as an agency as the most effective, efficient executive clemency authority in the nation, which just so happens to be the governor's vision of state government. So, as such, we continue to look at our people, processes, and technology to determine how we may improve our operational profile and the delivery of services to the citizens of Georgia. It is no longer enough just to have the right people on the bus, but we have to have them on the right seats in the bus to ensure that we are maximizing their knowledge, skills, and ability to move the board forward in its completion of its mission. Now, you know I have to talk about this, right? Go back one. There we go. Now I got to talk about my 4 E's, because it really says why we're here today. Our operational priorities of engaging all of our stakeholders, educating the community on the parole process in Georgia, encouraging everyone's active participation in the process, and if we're successful at those first 3, then that will lead us to the enhancement of the parole process in Georgia and thereby ensuring public safety for all Georgia citizens. We work hand in hand with our partners, the Department of Corrections, the Department of Community Supervision, which each play a critical role in the post-conviction criminal justice process here in Georgia. As state partners, we ensure offenders use their time wisely and become parole ready while in custody, while the Department of Community Supervision continually seeks to enhance supervision strategies in the community by implementing cutting-edge technology that positively impacts public safety. It takes all of us working together to achieve the success as a great team. The board, your operational team remains strong, and the agency as a whole continues to move forward in a very positive direction, building on public knowledge, enhancing stakeholder partnership, and most importantly, developing trust each and every day. And with that, I'll turn it over to our clemency division. Ms. Crystal Moon.
The mission of the Clemency Division is to assist the board in making informed clemency decisions by ensuring the board receives accurate, thorough, and timely information. This begins with a complete investigation history to facilitate considerations for all offenders, life sentences, short sentences, and guidelines cases, and to provide the board with a complete investigation history for all offenders in the pardon and restoration of rights process. We provide this through our investigation, consideration, and critical analysis unit. The Investigations Pardon Admin Unit is under the supervision of Deputy Director Kim Patton Johnson. The Investigations Unit is responsible for preparing investigative reports for the board's consideration, and the Pardons Unit is responsible for processing pardons applications and gathering information for the board's consideration. The Considerations and Critical Analysis Unit is under the supervision of Deputy Director Lisa D. Copeland. The Considerations Unit processes cases from the Georgia Department of Corrections and prepares each case for consideration for the board for the decision. The Critical Analysis Unit is designed to investigate, prepare, and submit specialized lifers, reprieves, and high-profile cases to the board for considerations, and to support the operations for the Clemency Division through comprehensive audits, analysis, and continuous training and development. Critical Analysis Unit personnel are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, assisting the Clemency Division with operations and involving pre-crisis planning response to critical incidents and major investigations involving the offenders housed at the Georgia Department of Corrections. We accomplish what we do through people, process, and technology. We are people first, and we do what we do with the belief that technology can change the lives and knowing that it can be a valuable tool. We are expanding professional growth and development of staff by investing in people and resources that move the agency forward. We have staff who are currently participating in the APPA Leadership Academy, which is Iris Shepard and Craig Flint. We recently had 2 staff members, Vanetta Stocks and Iris Shepard, who also was a recent graduate of Management Essential Training that was graduates of last month. We have created 2 new promotional opportunities. Chief Criminal Investigator Iris Shepard, along with Lead Institutional Parole Investigator Lataris Burney. We also have recently promoted Adrielle Morrison to the Metro Lead Parole Investigator, along with Judy Etheridge as a Senior Criminal Investigator. So we are also developing and managing leadership opportunities while cross-training our team leads and our assistant team leads as well. By reimagining the future through integrated lenses, it allows us to utilize the data trends to project and take proactive approaches to workflow. Identifying the staff talent allows the opportunities for us to explore other divisions. There's no replacement for our face-to-face collaboration. But by reimagining those hybrid workflows and adapting a virtual environment allows us that fostering sense of community and allows that community building culture for the continuous emphasis on cross-functional training, as well as empowering our frontline staff to make decisions in real time. Incorporating more staff interactions and more opportunities for input and feedback will create a strong environment for growth and innovation. The division will continue to flourish in response to changes in our offender population while maintaining and improving the quality of work. So when it comes to our processes, the Clemency Division makes the work more efficient, while technology allows us to automate our systems and processes. Balancing the division allows us to optimize the workload and make more efficient and effective quality product. The Pardon Administration Unit is developing an electronic system that will be online in the next couple of months. This will enhance our customer service interface with the board and the board's ability to process applications in a more efficient and effective manner. We have completed the scanning pardon files. That entailed the field parole investigators scanning and collecting and checking over 7 dozen files containing thousands of pardon records going back to 1969. And we also completed the Victim Locator Special Project with the Office of Victim Services by assisting in searching for victims of almost over 800 life sentence offenders. We are enhancing and expanding our personal history investigation by validating the information given by the offenders during diagnostic process. We will continue to improve our criminal investigation special interviews restoration of rights interviews, as well as the commutation evaluation report. And lastly, we will continue to expand our evidence-based data processing system. Thank you. Good afternoon to the board and to all of those that are in attendance. I'm Felicia Holloway. I'm the Division Director for Field Services. And I'd like to take this opportunity to again thank the board and thank Executive Director Barnett for all of your support for our division. As you all know, our mission in Field Services is to carry out the clemency functions related to violations and commutations. And we do this with a great team. So our division is made up of 5 units: our GCIC unit, our Interstate Compact unit, our Revocation unit, our Scanning unit, and our District Operations managers that are the criminal investigators of our division. So at this time, I'd like to bring up Jenna James. She's the Senior District Operations Manager. She has a brief presentation, and she'll be followed by Alan Smith, our Deputy Director of Field Services. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairman Barnard, Vice Chair Bud, Mr. Henry, and our guests. I'm Jenna James, and I will introduce our next section, which is our Interstate Compact Unit. Georgia is part of the Interstate Commission for Adult Offender Supervision. We have an agreement where we continue to track offender supervision across state lines and provide offender accountability. Georgia and the interstate community is considered a pass-through state. That means travelers usually go through our state on their way to another state. Unfortunately, some of them commit crimes, violate our laws, get arrested, go to court, convicted, and go to prison. Well, they're not from the state of Georgia, so once they become eligible for parole, they want to go home. This is where the Interstate Compact comes into play. We process the transfer request to the other state for investigation. The unit works tirelessly to process all of these requests. Previously, several years ago, the requests used to take about 90 to 120 days to process. As a result of that, it just increases the cost of housing inmates in the prison system once they're eligible for parole. During the past fiscal year 2021, we processed 743 cases and assigned them for investigations with the other state. It took the team approximately 68 days on average to process that. It used to take 90 to 120 days. So the team has done a really great job in reducing the amount of time that it took for them to process these cases, thereby saving the state additional money. During the first quarter of fiscal year 22, so far they've processed 214 cases, averaging 64 days to be able to do that. Just so you know how many out-of-state cases we have in the state of Georgia, there are 1,158 out-of-state offenders being supervised in the state of Georgia during fiscal year 21. During fiscal year 22, there were 1,490. Conversely, Georgia offenders are more of Georgia parolees on supervision out of state than we have out-of-state offenders on supervision in Georgia. That number during fiscal year 21 was 2,029, fiscal year 22, 2,359. Another part of the Interstate Compact Unit is our ICE unit, our ICE section. We work closely with ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, as well as the Georgia Department of Corrections. Foreign nationals who are in our prisons, once they become eligible for parole, they're released to ICE for deportation purposes only. Fiscal year 2020, we sent 95 cases to ICE for deportation. According to the FBI, the cost of avoidance was over $5 million in savings. Fiscal year 21, we sent 89 cases for deportation to ICE with a cost of avoidance of almost $5 million. Our scanning and imaging unit currently has 3 major projects. We are, in 2010, the board made a decision to become paperless. That doesn't happen overnight. So in 2010, we began that process. In 2015, we started scanning LIFR files. There are currently 1,708 files remaining. We had 50,000 files to begin with, LIFR files to be scanned. Our scanning unit has done a great job in taking care of that. Parole LIFR files have also been scanned. We have about 318 remaining of those, and we have 4,420 boxes of closed files in our records, in the state records building. So they're currently working on that process. They've got a lot of work to do with regards to those cases. Our GCIC unit is responsible, well, the Georgia Crime Information Center provides round-the-clock criminal justice information to criminal justice agencies and officials. In order to have access to that information, you need to be GCIC certified, and that happens through the GBI. Any agency that is certified to receive this information from GCI or view this information in GCIC must be audited every 3 years. Being audited ensures that your agency remains in compliance with GCIC rules and regulations as well as federal law. Continued access to this information means that you have to remain in compliance with the GBI's rules and regulations. Our unit is responsible for entering warrants on parolees and removing those warrants once the parolee has been taken into custody. In fiscal year 2020, the unit entered 3,262 warrants into GCIC. In fiscal year 21, 3,624 warrants were entered. And so far in fiscal year 22, we've entered 2,437. Part of the process of entering warrants into GCIC requires that the team enters every piece of demographic information on that offender into the system. This can be very, it just takes a lot of attention to detail. An offender may have 15 aliases, alias date of birth, alias social security numbers. So it means the team has to just be very diligent in making sure that they're entering the correct information. 1 digit off could mean that I could be arrested for something. It's not me, it's another offender, but any mistake could mean the civil rights, civil liberties of someone being taken away. And Alan goes up next. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, and Board Member Herrick. The District Operations Manager and the Revocation Unit, we work pretty much in tandem to process the clemency functions related to both revocations and commutations. I'd be remiss in my duties if I didn't first start out by thanking, I don't know if DCS is represented here today, but the Department of Community Supervision, they're responsible for supervising the offenders that the board determines are able to transition back out into general public on the street. Excuse me, and without the Department of Community Supervision, the work that we do in our unit would not be possible. We enjoy an excellent relationship with them, and they do an incredible job of working with us on a daily basis. Those officers that are on the streets are responsible for submitting delinquent reports or violation reports to our unit. And in FY 2021, you can see they submitted just over 23,000 of those reports. It went down somewhat so far this year to around 15,000 thus far. But the district operations managers are responsible for reviewing those reports and investigating each and every one of those cases as they come across their desks to try and make a best case determination on what is going to happen to that offender as they're already in violation when they get to us. And as a result of those delinquent reports, the district operations managers issued quite a number of warrants in FY 21. It was just over 6,000 and a little bit over 3,700 so far this year. And further down, as a result of those delinquent reports, the revocation occurs for those individuals that are deemed not fit for being back out on the streets under the board's guidelines. And our revocation unit processed a little over 2,300 in FY21 and 1,411 so far this year. By leveraging technology, Chris has already mentioned, that the agency's use of technology has allowed us to move forward in a positive tone. And by leveraging technology, you as a board are able to conduct your revocation hearings along with one of the district operations managers in several sites throughout the state. We've got a South Georgia site in Liberty County, North Georgia site in Gainesville, Central Georgia in Atlanta, and the Twin Towers there, and the Middle Georgia site at the offender admin unit, the Georgia Diagnostics and Classification Prison. And in those sites, the revocation hearings have been held, and in FY21 there was 352, and thus far in FY22, 251 hearings. And the technology that we've been using up to this point, the Cisco technology and the Google Meet technology, has allowed not only easier access for the board to conduct their revocation hearings, but also for the Department of Community Supervision officers to conduct the hearings at a location close to where they are supervising the offenders at. So during the revocation hearing process, we could have 3, 4, as you've seen, 5 different sites, depending on where the offender is, where the officers are, and where the witnesses are. But as I said, we're currently using Cisco and Google Meets to conduct those, and I'm happy to say that we have already procured equipment to move on to the WebEx system. The WebEx is, from what I understand, it's a web-based system that will create a much more beneficial experience when conducting them online. The courts use the WebEx system, the jails use the WebEx system, and even the Department of Corrections has a WebEx system there, so that we can tie that all in together to make the revocation hearing process a much better experience for you. Thank you. Any questions?
So do you have any additional information as to what will be on WebEx?
Well, it's my understanding, I spoke with Tracy regarding the procurement of screens, and the 2 TV screens are here in central office along with the cards that those are going to be on. And I've spoken with IT about it, and we already have the unit for central office. So it could be as early as next week, if not next week, probably the week after that, because they will have to push that technology out to all of the existing systems that are out there right now until they can be upgraded with the new equipment so that they can still be used. But the technology will have to be pushed out. So there'll be a little bit of a testing phase for that. So, but I anticipate it's going to be moving very quickly because IT is eager for it, and we are as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Q Chapel, Office of Victim Services.
Good morning, board. My name is Keir Chappell. I'm the Deputy Director of the Georgia Office of Victim Services, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about the work that we do at the Georgia Office of Victim Services. This report is a little special to me because I get to do it at a place I called home for 5 years, where I met my best friends and my lovely wife. So I said 5, not 4, just so you know. So I love Georgia. But as you know, the division represents the Department of Corrections, the State Board of Pardons and Paroles, and the Department of Community Supervision. And our mission is to provide post-sentencing support and information to crime victims, registered crime victims, their families, and members of the community. As we continue to improve our division by focusing on our people, our processes, and our services, I want to take a moment to highlight some great updates. Last month we welcomed, and I guess I should press this button. Last month we welcomed Christopher Toussaint back to the Parole Board as our Notifications Unit Manager. Chris has over 8 years of experience providing advocacy to crime victims during both the pre-conviction and post-conviction phases of their cases. He holds a bachelor's degree in liberal studies with a minor in sociology, a master's degree in criminal justice, a master's degree in public administration. He left for a short stint to go to the Fulton County Clerk of Court, and he's now back home with us, and he's already doing an awesome job. So He's not here with us, but we're really glad to have him back. In October, we began notifying registered victims about the 5-year review process in order to stay consistent with the board's desire to make sure registered victims are involved throughout the entire clemency process. Our goal has been to provide victims more opportunities for input while providing the board with more accurate information earlier in the process. These notifications are forwarded to victims 6 months prior to the review, and since the pilot has started, we've reviewed over 1,100 offenders and notified victims on a little over 100 cases. We recently started the process of emailing every notification to victims at the same time that we send postal mail notifications. We've noticed that although people may move and change their residence address pretty regularly, very few actually change their email addresses. This process will allow us to more accurately notify registered victims immediately regarding their case and could potentially speed up the response and processing time. The goal is to at one point move to we can virtually and electronically only notify them that way. As our office continues to move beyond only notifying victims about their case to providing more access to direct services, this month we introduced our Community Resource Guide. This 82-page guide includes resource information for each county, local community, statewide programs, online and national resources. The information can be provided to victims as we assess their needs over the phone or in person, and we can also send it to them electronically. We also released an updated victim information brochure. The brochure has really officially been updated in probably over a decade. And we wanted something with clear information, more concise language, specifically including answers and information resulting from some of the frequently asked questions that we receive from victims all the time. We are actually in the planning stages of our victim impact sessions, which are scaled down versions of the program of the Victim Visitors Day program that you all are familiar with, that should increase safety for victims and the board and give each case a more individualized attention. So we're looking forward to that, and we're hoping to have one of those going on pretty soon. And finally, you all may know that April is Child Abuse Prevention and Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And so, and we also recognize National Child Abuse Awareness Week at the end of this month. So our office will be partnering with some of our community partners and stakeholders to provide information of our processes. Actually this week, tomorrow, we're going to be working with DJJ as part of their virtual National Crime Victims' Rights Week event. We're going to have some of our staff members at a church this weekend, and it's going to really kick off on the 23rd with the Clayton County District Attorney's Office at their annual self-defense training program. And finally, we'll end it at the Talawaliga Judicial Circuit's National Crime Victims' Rights Week Domestic Violence and Human Trafficking Training and Awareness event.
That's easy for you to say.
I tried my best. I tried. Thank you so much. I'll take any questions if you have any. All right, thank you, Board.
Good afternoon, Chairman Bernard, Vice Chair Bond, Mr. Herring, my colleagues, and all of you wonderful people here at Georgia Southern. My name is Iris McKinnon. I am the Director of Human Resources, and I have with me today Persis Johnson, the Deputy Director of Human Resources, and we bring you greetings from our office. During COVID, we wanted to ensure that we were still able to take care of our employees and to provide them the optimum customer service that they were accustomed to. And our efforts to do that, we created an HR website for our employees to have hands-on access to any forms or documentation that they may need. Some of the forms that they use on a regular basis are like the student loan forgiveness form, benefit forms, anything pertaining to retirement or what have you. We didn't want the ball to drop due to COVID or us being in a new work environment. So we created this website, and we've been also able to use the website to keep our employees engaged. We post birthdays, promotions, babies being born, and any type of celebrations that we are aware of. So that has worked very well for us to keep our employees engaged. Likewise, we wanted to provide a platform for our managers and supervisors to be able to have the information that they may need as it pertains to hiring processes, PARs, disciplinary procedures, and performance management. And also any forms that they may need that they would have available at their fingertips as well. We also created, we are continuing to create like different processes. COVID challenged, I believe, everyone to think outside of the box and think about new ways to, or create new ways to do your job or to reinvent some of the things that we were doing. And that being said, our new employment orientation, we were able to do it both hybrid, both in person or virtually. So that was an option that we had in order to keep the ball rolling. Also, our goal was to continue to recruit and retain the top talent that there is in the state of Georgia to work for the Parole Board, because the Parole Board is an awesome place and we want to maintain that reputation of being the best place to work in state government. So in order to do that, we use several different types of recruitment tools. One of the recruitment tools that I'm most fond of is our the internship opportunities that we have. Our internship opportunities are unique in that we afford our interns an opportunity to work in every area of the Parole Board. They're not just restricted to the law enforcement side of the house. They may want to work in accounting or HR or budget or different areas in legal. We provide our interns an opportunity to get their hands in a little bit of everything that we do in the Parole Board. Our wonderful executive director even affords them opportunities, from time to time we partner with our community partners and provide them opportunities to maybe go on ride-alongs or to work in other areas of law enforcement within the community. So what that does is it provides growth and learning opportunities to junior, seniors, and graduate level students. It allows students to augment classroom instructions and to gain real world work experience. It also exposes, like I say, the interns to various areas. A lot of times you find students that are in college for criminal justice, but they may not realize that the Parole Board not only has positions in criminal justice, but you can be an HR director, that's after I retire, or you can work somewhere in other departments. So we just wanted to provide those type of opportunities. I try to think outside of the box when we're creating opportunities to do things a little bit different. So we're super excited about that as we continue to keep our internship programs. We're looking to improve it, improve upon it each and every day. We're looking to improve our processes in the way that we take care of our employees. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our attendees, or I should say thank you for having us, hosting us here. I'm Kristen Kinney, and I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the State Board of Pardons and Paroles, and I'm going to give a brief update for the Budget and Fiscal Management Division. So I wanted to share a snapshot of our current budget status. This shows our annual operating budget and year-to-date spend through the end of March of this year. We are 9 months into the current fiscal year with only a quarter to go. And we are on track to end our fiscal year in a positive financial standing and in budgetary compliance. Keep in mind that the amended 22 raises are not yet included in this expenditure figure here. So that's why you're seeing slightly less than 75% spend. So we're not quite there yet. But moving on to the amended 22 appropriations. As you know, the governor signed the amended fiscal year 2022 appropriations bill in March, which added funds for a $5,000 pay raise for full-time benefit eligible staff. It also included a one-time salary adjustment for full-time benefit eligible federally funded employees as well. So this added a total of $1,054,143 to our budget this fiscal year, and that's divided across our 3 budgetary programs. All right, moving on to our fiscal year 2023 appropriations, which you all know begins in July 1. So since the last time we met, the FY23 General Appropriations Bill has passed Conference Committee, and it has not yet been signed by the governor. We don't have a date on that yet, but I am pleased to report that nothing was removed from the governor's original recommendation. So that's a huge win for us. That's $2.4 million that is added to our budget, our base budget for next fiscal year across our 3 budgetary programs. And those items include the annualization of the $5,000 cost of living adjustment for our employees, as well as some retirement items and an agency-specific item of providing $200,000 for our parole guidelines and sex offender risk level assessment. So I'm happy to report that that has passed. And I wanted to share this, just threw this together really quick, our historical appropriations from dating back to FY 2018. You can see that our base budget for fiscal year 2023 is $18.958 million, which you'll notice surpasses what our 2020 levels at $18.2 million. So I think that's absolutely great. $2.4 million added back, especially after FY21 and FY22. Of course, those were lower due to the budget cuts, which were about 10% for our agency. So I thought I would share that. But any questions?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Good job.
Uh-oh, already missed it. There we go. Well, good afternoon, board. Normally, we'd say good morning, but this is the matinee session, the 2 p.m. board meeting today. So, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Vice Chair, and Mr. Herring, members of the board. I'm Steve Hayes, Communications Director for the State Board of Pardons and Paroles. It's a great pleasure to be here today on the campus of Georgia Southern University. Maybe a little bit about the size of the college that I went to. So it's a nice atmosphere for our board meeting today. I know we're running a little long. Had the chairman pulled aside for Fox 28 to do a few brief comments, and so I'll keep my comments short about our communications team efforts to educate and engage our communities and our stakeholders. And really, that's what our communications team and public affairs team does for the parole board and for the state and for state government. We're here about engaging and educating and hopefully ensuring that the communities understand the functions of the parole board, the responsibilities, and in order, and the fact that they can understand and where our role is in public safety will benefit all of our efforts toward public safety. So again, it's a pleasure to be here. Again, I'm Director Steve Hayes. The camera guy today is Jordan Bailey. He's our digital media specialist, so he's making us look good with the camera and the video today. I'll speak just a little bit about the rest of the team. We have 2 new administrative support assistants in our receptions office, and unfortunately you won't get to see their smiling faces today, but at our next possible meeting in central office, we'll bring them up. 2 beautiful young people just starting out their careers, and I know that Director Barnett put that staff in public affairs where it should be because they are a point of contact for public affairs, but he knows that I'll always do a great job hiring people that are promoted. So he knows that I really don't have a problem there because we had two fine young people that were promoted recently, and we've hired 2 more fine young people, and I don't know, 6, 12 years down the road, they can be promoted too. They'll probably be more like 6 to 12 months. That's all fine and good because they're good people, and we'll bring them up and introduce them at the appropriate time. Our ombudsman is Anais Tucker. She's the point of contact for most of the public emails that come into the agency. All kinds of questions from functions and responsibilities of the parole board, clemency actions, but a lot of offender questions from offender families. So just a brief look at our numbers. Again, social media is one of our main platforms that we utilize to engage and educate the public. And we are growing, continue to grow, up to 2,800 Twitter followers, almost 5,000 Facebook likes. Our overall website quality assurance score is up to 97.5 out of 100, so that's very good. The website, another excellent source of public information about the parole board. Over 60 or nearly 60,000 website visits in a 30-day period, and most of those folks, of course, are ones looking for parole status updates on our offenders incarcerated with the Department of Corrections. So 38,000 plus visits to our TPM lookup or inmate offender lookup to check out parole status. And again, Anais, our ombudsman, does a great job, and she continues to field those emails, 12,500 for the first 3 quarters of the year. So annually, we probably get, I think last year was 20,000, so we'll probably get, again, close to 20,000 emails sent into the agency. We have several projects that we are either in the process of completing or continue to work on in future projects. Coming up on May 2nd, we have a big presentation for the Association of Paroling Authorities International called the Media, Critical Incidents, and Stakeholder Engagement. We have a what I would call a superstar panel of media investigative reporters that will be able to present material and how they work with state agencies for our APAI membership. So really looking forward to that on May 2nd. We have a Georgia Office of Victim Services video that we're going to be, I guess debuting would be the right word, at the training conference that the Georgia Office of Victim Services has coming up in May as well. And it will be a short video about some of their programs and services to crime victims across the state. Recently, we completed the parole presentation, which you've heard about over the last couple of years. It's a all-inclusive parole process, field services, victim services, all the functions, responsibilities of the parole board roll into one presentation. It's audio, video, and it's on our homepage, and that's at pap.georgia.gov. We will soon have a isolated page for the individual division, breakouts, so that some of our folks and other people that want to pull down those divisions separately will be able to do so. We continue, again, we want to give another shout out to Fox 28 to coming out here today and helping us engage and educate the public with their interviews of staff and students. And so we continue to educate and engage through media, interviews, releases, and responses. And speaking engagements are a little slow, of course, over the last couple of years, but soon we'll be entertaining more of those. We'll be going out and engaging our communities more so with more events. So that's a brief look at communications, and if you have any questions, I'll turn it over to Director Barnett.
Well, board, as you can see, the operational teams are pretty busy. trying to represent the board well and continue to move our agency ahead and fulfill our commitment to ensure public safety across the state. So that will conclude the director's report, barring any questions from the board. Thank you very much.
So we're getting close to the end here. I want to say prior to concluding, thank you to Georgia Southern. You guys, the hospitality is great here. The food you've served. I shouldn't have probably said that in case there's some who didn't realize there was a few sandwiches. I don't think there's any left now. Anyway, the food was great. We thank you for doing that. It's a good opportunity for the board to be here. I know that sometimes business meetings can be like watching paint dry, and I apologize for that, but it is what it is. You go to any board meeting, particularly, it'll be most likely like that. But it is a necessary thing. We took care of a number of items today. So as we draw to conclusion, this is our segment where we'll accept public comments. What I will mention to you is that we will not accept public comments on offenders or questions on offenders, but if there is any public comment on anything that was discussed in today's meeting, now is an opportunity for you to make public comments. Is there public comments? I don't see any public comments, so that brings us to the final conclusion. I think, Director Barnett, are we still having a little meeting afterward with the students? Is that still?
Yeah, let's take a 5-minute break.
We're going to take a 5-minute break and meet with those students who wish to talk more in detail about parole. That being said, is there a motion that we adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
There's a motion by Mr. Herring.
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Bunn. All in favor say aye. Aye. This meeting has now been adjourned.